Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Wonderfully Wild, Rewilding a School and Community, written by Jessica Streamer and illustrated by Jose Mas. This is the story of a community that loves the willow tree in the schoolyard. It's a great place for running around, for whispering secrets, and for enjoying the outside. But when a storm comes up and blows the willow tree over, snapping its trunk in two, everyone is understandably upset. Luckily, there's a classroom of students that has an idea of how they might be able to help that willow live on in the hearts, minds, and eyes of the community, and they're willing to put in the work to do so. They have a supportive teacher, and with each clipping that they make, with each tiny willow that begins to grow, they start to see a bit of hope for the future of their schoolyard. And even though it has always looked a certain kind of way, they decide that perhaps rewilding it is the best way to go. And they make lots of opportunities for pollinators and for natural grasses and plants to grow up in this space that was once taken up just by this big, majestic willow tree. But now the willow tree gets to be shared with the community, and the community benefits in other ways as well by supporting the environment that naturally exists there. This nonfiction picture book is a great way of explaining what rewilding is and why it's important, and how one school community made the effort to make this change in order to support the natural community in their environment. This story is written for a preschool or early elementary school aged audience. There's a fair amount of text, mostly in just the story development, so readers will need a little bit more attention to understand what's going on and how everything is happening. Also, the characters in the story are a bit into that elementary school age range, so elementary school age readers are going to connect with them a little bit better. You have a wealth of diversity in the flora, fauna, and the people in the story. And so as you're going through, readers are going to recognize themselves and people they know in the pages of this book. There is a lot of discussion about how rewilding works in a way that is accessible and approachable to young children. Also, the fact that not everything grows the way that you expect it to. Sometimes it doesn't make it, and that just happens sometimes. So not everything is perfect, but the resilience of these children, the resilience of the community, especially after this beloved tree has fallen down, is really inspiring. And it's something that young readers and their communities are going to feel like they can perhaps do on their own if they have a similar type of situation. At the end of the book, there is a good amount of information to help support the efforts of rewilding in communities around the world. So depending on what a community might look like, rewilding might be a little bit different, but the importance of doing it and preserving the natural environment is highlighted in this end matter, and it's a great way for grown-ups and teachers to be able to better support the learning that's possible through this book, because they'll understand it a little bit better at the end as well. So while this is accessible to young readers, it is also enjoyable for older audiences, and it's a great way to introduce young readers to the idea of nonfiction texts, to introduce them to gardening, and to show them that even young readers can do small things that make a big difference. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.